Now, after the May tornadoes, we heard from many of you asking how to be certain that a safe room will protect your families from a large tornado. 2 News problem solver Michelle Lowry looks back at the disaster and the concerns in this 2 News investigation.
When you see a tornado that big, you find a place, you have no choice. It's either find cover or die.
Ricky Stover and his family didn't have a safe room, so they took to their cellar.
We locked the cellar door once we saw it coming. It got louder, and next thing you know, you see the latch coming undone, and we couldn't reach for it, and it ripped open the door, and it just glass and debris started slamming on us.
The Stovers all survived, but many of you turned to the 2 News problem solvers and our meteorologists in the wake of the deadly storms, asking which type of safe room is best. Amidst the debris in the path of the E5 tornado that tore through Moore, we found safe rooms that survived both above and below ground. But we wanted to know across the board which is safest. Just as the Moore tornado began to hit, people were being told the only safe place to be is underground. 2 News meteorologist George Flickinger got to the truth to bring us the answer.
But it's continuing to rip and grind all these trees up.
Huge tornadoes, horrific results. After EF5 rated tornadoes hit Moore and El Reno, we set out to investigate which safe rooms are the safest. FEMA says in the right safe room, your family will have near absolute protection even from tornadoes with 250-mile-per-hour wind. Greg Stevens and his family took to their safe room as the deadly Moore tornado barreled toward them.
Usually the ones that come around here, they kind of come close, but they've never had a direct hit.
This was a direct hit. It sucked the door open on the family's underground safe room.
It was scary in respect that that was a moment I thought I might lose someone in my family.
It's a worst-case scenario, 250-mile-per-hour wind plus flying debris. Could above-ground storm shelters survive? To find out, we traveled to the Texas Tech Wind Research Center. At this facility in Lubbock, Texas, scientists launch wood and metal to simulate wind and damaging storm debris. This is a wind cannon. It can produce EF5 tornado damage, shooting out debris just like a tornado. The cannon simulates wind of 250 miles per hour. Researchers line up this safe room to take hits with objects including 2x4s, fired at the shelter's most vulnerable spots, such as away from studs and into the door. A storm shelter would be considered a failure if the steel is pushed inward more than 3 inches.
We don't have a great deal of deviation.
Wayne Bullington, with the help of his 5-year-old son Caden, built this safe room using his own money and brought it to the Wind Research Center for testing, paying $4,000 to have it put to the ultimate test.
A lot of individuals who couldn't go underground. They had shelters, but they weren't able to get into those shelters.
Tensions are high as Wayne waits to see if his safe room passes.
Spent a great deal of time trying to redesign the shelter to be an above ground storm shelter that was accessible and was safe.
The cannon fires a series of EF5 level shots. The safe room performs perfectly. Barely more than 1 inch of impact and no holes. The door remains sealed. The shelter would also remain attached to the ground during a tornado. Huge specialty bolts driven to at least 4 inches of concrete prevent this 1-ton shelter from being picked up or pushed over. So, which is superior, above or below ground? Larry Tanner, research associate at the Wind Research Center, says most importantly, your safe room must be designed and built to FEMA guidelines.
They're all safe if they are tested products.
Though in a below-ground safe room, you face the risk of debris blocking the exit or flooding. The good news, no one has ever been killed in an approved safe room, whether above or below ground. And after seeing video footage of cars picked up and tossed by tornadoes, many of you asked whether above-ground safe rooms would stand up to cars falling out of the sky. Larry says FEMA safe rooms built to FEMA guidelines can handle multi-ton vehicles being dropped on them. No problem.
It's a 57 Cadillac draping over the sides of their shelter, and that's virtually what we see all the time.
Go to kgrh.com to see safe room guidelines from FEMA and construction plans. You can also call the Safe Room Helpline 1-866-927-21 George Flickinger, 2 News works for you.
Thank you, George and Michelle. Now, we put that helpline phone number inside this story for you. Just pull it up on the 2 News mobile app or go to kgrh.com. And while you're there, check out the photo gallery for more shots from the safe room test.